What's going on, everybody? It's your homeboy E Short hanging out in his man room as usual for the E and L Sports Talk Show. What's going on, Les? Got my brother here, Les. Man, how you doing, Les?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm ready to get this thing started, man. And I just want to say I got this is a guest that and not in the beginning of my start, into the game of basketball, but he was like in the forefront during that time, being around, and my first experience of being around what I would consider equal to today's consideration elite basketball environment, which would be the family of Restoration. And I met this guy, man, and ever since then, man, we've been friends, man. He is a strange individual, but a special person in all of our lives. And he's very much appreciated by us all. But without further ado, I want to introduce our homeboy, our teammate, Stogie Kenyatta. How you doing, Stogie?
All right.
My captain and Big Les.
Yeah, man. Let the public know something about Stogie Kenyatta, bro.
Well, I was born in Kingston, Jamaica. Came up to Brooklyn, New York, Crown Heights when I was around 8 or 9 years old, and went to third grade actually. When I was in third grade, went to PS 167, and from there, was pretty much a street kid growing up. I had 5 sisters, no brothers, and working parents, a grandmother that looks after you, and the rest of the time the streets got you. You know, uh, 5% of formerly street kid. Former juvenile felon. That basketball saved my life. My first love was actually football. Baseball was cool, and you got the uniforms, the whole thing. It was baseball was actually the most organized sport for Little League in New York. At the time, because they had uniforms and stuff, and they had more. Oh, and then football I could run and catch, and that's really all you had to do. And then basketball stole my heart, and through Sports Unlimited, and then Restoration, John Lawrence, and it changed my game. It changed my life, and as a result, I knew when I fell in love with the game, it changed all my habits. So as a result, I never really smoked and drank. Well, I smoked weed, but no cigarettes and no beer and nothing, because Timmy Vincent and those guys would tell us, when you ain't practicing, somebody else is, and how they're gonna get you a scholarship, and that was the whole dream, to get a scholarship. And coming up from Jamaica, it was a whole different thing, that you could actually get. My grandparents, grandmother and mother would watch, like, the Yankees playing, which they were always in the World Series in the middle of the day, and they would say things like, "If these grown men are out playing baseball in the middle of the day, when do they have time to work?" And I was like, "This is their job. They get paid to do this." And you know, I fell in love with the game, and being a fatherless kid out there, the coaches provided some structure, and the teammates gave me the brothers that I never had, and so I got good enough to, even though I was in the middle of the pack, talent-wise, I got a job. I got a scholarship to a small liberal arts college in California, and it just chased my dream. So
Yeah.
I'm forever, that Crown Heights and Brownsville community and Brooklyn basketball were molding me, because it gave me character, it gave me passion, it taught me to chase my passions, and it taught me this thing of work and reward, and that
Mhm.
the harder I worked, the better I got. And so I bought books in it. I would dribble in the basement because my handle was terrible. And then, you couldn't have the lights on, because Jamaicans are very, very particular about the light bill. Turn off the lights.
Oh,
Down in the basement dribbling, it was like, do not have that lights on. So I turned the lights off, and you open the window, you get a little bit of light coming through the window, and I would work on my handle. I couldn't see anyway, and then my handle got really, really good, because I'm just going through the crates. Because, back then, little crates was damn near furniture in the basement,
That's
and
right.
yeah.
Yeah, it doubled as a chair, everything, man.
it was like a bookshelf, your albums, the whole thing. It was like,
Hmm.
everybody moving needs some albums. Okay, do not do not need no albums. It was like, And so so yeah, so it was crazy. So it was a beautiful thing, but it was the most beautiful childhood. And and I have my lifelong friends now. Frankly, if you're in my phone book right now and you're from New York, if I didn't shoot jump shots with you, you almost, I don't even know why you're in my phone. Because it's like literally, it's like everybody, my wife amazes about it. Wherever we go, you run to people that from around the world that you played basketball with in Brooklyn, and it's an amazing brotherhood, amazing
Yes.
brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because fast forward, into your more adult life and the finished part of playing. What have you been up to since then?
Well, I studied political science and screenwriting and drama in college, and because I was always interested in acting and writing, and but in Jamaica, you can't go to school and major and then full take. So I had to get a real major, and so political science was it because I spoke well and I was a consummate liar, and um, and I was full of shit, and so these were the essential ingredients of being a great politician. And so I went to political science and in screenwriting and and acting. And as time went on, and I realized uh, that you had to raise like around at that time around $20 million to get a job as a U.S. congressman, which paid around 85 grand.
Mm.
I said, so you're raising $20 million you don't have to pay back to get a job that pays you $85,000.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 6 years, you got to come back and say, hey, give it to me again.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if you could raise $20 million for a private corporation, not only is 10% of that shit yours, but they're going to make you CFO, chief financial officer, and you ain't never got, you're the man, and they're going to give you a 300 grand a year salary.
Hmm.
So why would I do that for politics?
Mm.
And a lot of shit that makes I realize it's a rich man's game.
Right.
Because I'm like, that don't make no sense. But if I raise $20 million, I'm about $5 million of real estate.
Hmm.
That's
Right. Right. Right.
like, and if I ain't got to pay it back, then I'm about $8 million worth of real estate. And then I'm gonna see if I hope you niggas like me and vote.
Right.
But in a nutshell, so I worked my way into acting, and I started acting on soap operas and and TV shows and different things. One of my first jobs was Sanford and Son, and then The White Shadow, and TV commercials. I did the first African commercial, Jonathan Martin on TV,
Mm.
and I started traveling all over the world, and I saw it was an easy life. Beautiful, beautiful women, a lot of sex, a lot of glamour, a lot of dope, a lot of the debauchery, but it wasn't a meritocracy like sports. So I didn't come to respect it as much because people with limited talent that got high with people, if you went to Betty Ford Clinic, you made connections with big time people. That guy
Mm-hmm.
Larry Kortensky married Elizabeth Taylor out of there. He was a construction worker, and he
Mm.
Right.
married Elizabeth Taylor. And so so it's but I stuck with it because it was my passion. Because
Right.
one of the basketball taught you was to respect your passion. Which is Nipsey Hussle wrestler, which is my man. I knew him out here, and a great kid, but respect your passion meant you determine success. Muhammad Ali quotes, that success is determined so much by the obstacle, by the heights achieved, or by the obstacles overcome. And
Right.
so along the way, success for me meant living where I wanted to live and how I wanted to live the quality of life. And so
Hmm.
I wanted the sunshine, I wanted the beaches, I wanted, the whole thing. I married a Jamaican girl from Brooklyn the first time, because I wanted to be like Les Miller, but it
Mm.
was, but
Uh,
I didn't have Les Miller's discipline and I didn't have Les Miller's stats, you know, because Les Miller had them David Busher stats. And I used to see, I was like, what is this? I know Les Miller had them Larry Fogel stats. He was up there holding down Eastern New York, Western New York.
huh?
Up where you at? Was that Western New York where you were at?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, but yeah, so he was holding it down up there, and so but yeah, so so when that didn't work out, I found a queen shopping, and I had no intention of getting married again, As a matter of fact, I should be joking because I was doing stand-up comedy, and it was always, one of my jokes was, before I get married again, I'd find a bitch I hate and give her half my money, you know. But
I'm still reveling on the Dave DeBuscher comparison, man. I like that.
but he was bored and he was the whole thing there, and it was like growing up with you guys were almost privileged to us. Well, you, Eric, you were captain. Well, initially, of course, I thought I was a year. You were 2 years older than me when we were playing at 12.
Yeah.
But you,
Mm.
you were thick as shit, and we were all skinny and lean and looked mountain. Okay, and then when we went up to the Detroit game, it was like two generations of your family showed up like you were going off to war.
Right on Utica and Eastern Parkway, right?
It was like, which was one of the biggest things in my life. I know Eric say like, so you always talk about that trip. I got to go like, if you don't even understand, that was like to me because you ain't never left Brooklyn.
Right.
To Jersey, nigga was like Jersey. It was like you go to Peg Leg Bates on a summer. You don't remember Peg Leg Bates where you go to have a barbecue or some shit.
Oh yeah,
Right,
definitely.
Or Beer Mountain or Beer Mountain.
But you're right though, man. I mean, that experience probably for a lot of people just opened up, a lot of opportunities in your thinking, and for me, that was my first time leaving New York without my parents too. I guess that's why I had that entourage, right?
Mm.
Right. And so it was like, and all those guys on the bus, and Gil's guys, Ernie Simons, Derek Melvin, Blue, and Fred Mobley. And I remember Gil throwing some coffee on Ernie Simons or something.
Yeah, yeah. stopping
Wow.
the, stopping the bus, man. Guys were smoking weed on the bus.
What?
We were like good kids,
Yeah.
like and Yams from who went to Morgan State, he was on a bus and he was kind of bullying me and throwing stuff at me. And then what's his name? James Hayes, okay, who guts I hated. Okay, he walked like an old slave.
May he rest in peace, but go ahead.
But he moved real slow, but then he jumped to the moon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
40 inch vertical, man, at 16, 17 years old. It's
And a hand catches me, catch the ball. And it's like, yo, it's like, it's like, and he's like, hey, you hear me? You hear me? And he goes, good. Hey, you the ball. Just the horse. I gotta go like, I'm going like, his voice was deep,
like a grown man,
That was the first time though where I was playing in a weight gym in another state. And that was the first time where I really had big respect for you. And I said, that's my captain when the game against Wayne McCoy, which I thought was your best game at 12, 13, 14 years old that I'd ever seen. Because
Wow.
Wayne was
I appreciate it.
Wayne was like 6'8", what do you have, 21 that game?
Yeah, it's killing him.
6'8", and he looked like, I'm going like, he ain't no 14. I ain't seen nobody 6'8", but he's 6'8", like 246, right?
Yeah, he was a big dude.
And he had ass on him, the whole thing. I gotta go like, and I'm going like, the biggest Willis Reed. And I was like, he was Willis Reed side to us. Because we 13. And it's like, and you were, but it was like, but you came out. It was like, I think you scored the first 8, and it was gotta go like, and so it really got everybody. But it was like, but no, that was a wonderful experience.
It was a growth period for us all, man. And those experiences, like you take them with you places, and and for you, like it propelled you into so many different aspects of American life as an adult. And we're gonna speak to some of that.
Oh, absolutely. Because we hung out with some of the guys that went to Cooley. I drove with him because we played CeeLo together, and I noticed how their candy stores had liquor available in it. In New York, you had to go to a liquor store to get Boone's Farm.
Mm-hmm.
Their shit was next to the Skittles. And, they they could get, and so it was different. And a lot of people had cars who shouldn't have cars. And niggas would go like, you driving, and they'd go like, hold the wheel, and I'd hold the wheel, and then they would toss his head back and be drinking. I'm going like, okay, I get no drinking and driving, but nigga, this is then there's this this is really wrong. You can't drop your head back. You got to okay, and get your foot off the gas. Okay, I'm like, nigga, it was like, it was like, you had the light. And he's like, and he's like, ah, nigga, don't worry about the lights. Don't worry about the lights. I control the lights. I'm like, well make them green, motherfucker. Because I'm going to fucking wrong with you stupid Detroit niggas. Okay. Because them niggas was like, but it was nice, it was like, I remember Renee Childress, one of the best teammates I've ever had. Renee was wonderful. And Renee Stevens. Was it Stevens or Childress?
Stevens. May he rest in peace too. Yeah.
A golf
Yeah.
course. Lightning on a golf course.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a good guy, man. He was, man. He really was.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And he played with Satan in the backcourt because Russell Saunders was the worst teammate ever. It was like Russell's terrible teammate. It's like, Russell.
I'm gonna let you say that. I ain't saying that.
No, but he was.
Yeah, because Russell will send me a message, man, and go off on me, man. So I'm keeping my mouth closed.
But it was but it was wonderful. I hooked up with one of those guys out here later on from Cooley out in California. Fahim, and he got into that life because Detroit had a crime element, a criminal element that was similar to parts of Brooklyn. And but yeah, but it's but it shaped me. It molded how it shaped my worldview of life. And through coaches, John Lawrence, Lester Roberts, Lloyd McCory, Timmy Vincent, and of course George Merton, who became like family. Come to my kids. George picked me up from the airport sometimes coming back, and I was never his best player, but he had this way of him, and he's just a fantastic guy. And for a
Yeah.
bunch of cats like us, well, like me anyway, and the rest of us, not you two, privileged, father knows, as like
but he still had the same impact on us too, Stogie. Just
right,
and,
well,
and you know that, and you know that.
Oh yeah, because well, and you were like, you were his damn near his son, because one of the things I hated about you, every time you come out of a timeout, the whole thing you had put your, oh shit, you want to lean on somebody, I was always like, Eric, I swear to God, get your elbow get off my shoulder, okay? I remember we were playing in I think MAL or something in East New York at the BRC somewhere, one of those tournaments.
At Jeff.
Yeah, and it's like, but going all over the city and, seeing parts of New York, the West 4th Street tournament. I played with Durbin White one year at West 4th Street, and I had one of my best games against Mike Epps. He went to Virginia Union, but he was from Harlem Y.
Mm.
And we lost, and Mike Epps gave us around 42 or something, but I had like 35 in a loss. And they kept saying your name. It was on the plane at West Fork, and I met an older lady out there, and she liked my name, and we talked afterwards. She was like 31, and I remember because I was 19, and she worked for a law firm. But we ended up hooking up, and she brought me out to California with her. I was going to school. I said, I'm going to California, but she's going a week before I got there. I said, well, no, I got to, because I got to hustle. I got to get school closed. And she said, well, you come early with me. And I said, I can't come early. And she said, I'll pay for your ticket.
Mm.
And I said, yeah, but I got to hit school. She said, like, I'll give you money for school clothes. By then I was already seen with her, you know, because it's like, but she was dating one of the guys from the drummer from Gil Scott Heron's band,
Okay.
and it in Harlem.
Mm.
And you know, so she was sending, you know, a taxi for me, and I was going up there and digging it out. And so it was like, I did it. You know, she came down to Brooklyn one time, came to one of my games, because you know, and I remember me and Kurt something, you know, it's like, so yeah, so now it was, but some wonderful memories, man, wonderful memories. It was literally to me the best child. I look back on that child with such fondness, and what's crazy about this thing right now, the way the brain works, I
Mm.
literally will have dreams about games that I had and sequences in games that I played many years ago. I'm going like, why am I thinking about this shit? You
Mm.
know, and it's like, and it comes back to you, you know. I don't know
Yeah.
if citywide game where Bernard King stuck me. It was really goaltending now because it did hit the backboard first before he got it, but he got it up near the square. Okay, and
Mm.
you know, Bernard showed up at halftime and finished with 28, and it was at St. John's Red. We had the orange citywide shirts.
Mm.
Murdered us.
Mm.
Yeah, he got the details, Les.
I'm telling you, right? For real. For real.
Well, everybody would not ever let me forget Stove. You bust the blood out and you stuck your shit up on the backboard. Stove, nigga, oh, kill yourself. And it's like, and people are going like, because you know, the Albany Project niggas, okay, which I never went that project, I hated it, okay. If I took 4 steps in the Albany Project, on my 5th steps, someone robbed me.
Wow.
They were, they're felons. You know, I don't know, do you remember Brian Williams? Light skinned Brian Williams?
Nah, nah.
Okay, well, his mother came home one time, and I was like, no, his mom's came home, so you know he's not coming to practice because his mom just came home. So what? And I'm going like, I was from work. So was she in the hospital? He's like, no, nigga, she was in jail. She did it. I'm going like, they could put
What?
in jail. I didn't know you could put a mother in jail, but I'm so nigga, my mom's goes to church. Mom
Wow.
get home and she's home from work. She's home from work. You know, get the basketball, get your stuff out the thing there. Okay, go make up your bed. Okay, go close the door. Okay, and open the window. Get your stuff off the living room couch. Make it look like we hadn't been in the living room. That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Albany Projects kids had moms that were doing bids,
Wow.
and I'm going like, so yes, they would rob me. No, they would like they pull a deuce on you, okay? And I remember a couple of times I got robbed. I got robbed with there. I got robbed once on Delancey Street, took $37 from me. Okay,
Wow.
tail handle deuce. You know, and I remember saying, you know, and afterwards everybody's like, oh, you were not like a punk. That gun probably wasn't even loaded. It wasn't even loaded, you know. So I came home, my mom, you know, she said, you know, I should have because everybody said I should have done something that probably wasn't even loaded. She said, really? Is that what your friend said? Yeah, they're probably right because you know it's probably just funny. So my mom said, "Hey, stupid, look at me. Your friends are stupid. None of them are as smart as you. Say it with me. Your friends are stupid." And I said, "Why? How are you going to find out if the gun was loaded? How are you going to find out?
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to pull the trigger, stupid. And if it was loaded, then you get shot. I can get another $37. I can't get. I only got one son. I'm not having any more kids. Okay, so don't be stupid. Okay, you're gonna be 15 in debt over $37. It's a 20 or 5 and 2 singles. So it's like
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
thought, I
Yeah.
never even thought of that.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah, well,
like
one hell of an experience, right? You know, it's and
Yeah,
that's
man.
what and that's what brings us to, your experiences that you had. You've amassed so many friends in Brooklyn, and they're speaking about um, your buddies, man, your Wingate boys, because I know y'all are close. You got Ernest Myrick, Ricky Jarvis, Cleo, Fluff. Speak about your these are, that's that starting five right there, man. Speak about your boys, man.
yeah, they're still some of my best friends today. Derek Jones, Fluff, Rick Jarvis, Ernest. They're still to this day some of my best friends. But my ultimate best friends who carried me the way in basketball, who I credit the most for my development because of his discipline, was none other than Tony Noel.
Mm.
Tony
Yeah.
Noel and I started, he was actually one of my first friends in America,
Okay.
on the streets for me. So at 9 years old, we hooked up
Mm.
and we were bonded ever since. He loved the game. He played with heart. He never got tired. He could run forever. He was fearless. He was small and he was humble and always willing to learn. And he would, he was just that kid.
Yeah.
And he would, advice and the whole things, he would tell me, come on, Stoke, don't do that. Come on now, how you gonna steal that? It was like, no, never mind. I'll buy it. I'll pay for it. Put it back. I'll pay for it. Okay. And he would stop me from things that I would get, you know what I mean? When we won
Mm.
the St. Matthews tournament, you know, I was playing with older guys and we won a tournament in St. Matthews. And all the older guys, first time I played with older guys, you know, and they all drank Boone's Farm. It was Strawberry Hill. Shit was delicious. It was cold. It was on the thing. And I was like, it's the best wine I ever tasted. Boom. They had the fifth. It was like Strawberry Hill. Drink some young boy, and I'm going like, and the more I'm drinking, the more they clapping, and I'm just drinking away. Within an hour, okay, I'm making street pizza. I'm throwing everything up.
Mm.
The next day, I had a headache, a stomach ache, and diarrhea.
Yeah.
I'm
Then they,
sorry for laughing.
they told me that that was a hangover. And I got to go like, oh, that's not even an appropriate word for the shit I just went through. I'm like, you need a worse word than that because I ain't never been that sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
But
and
you're right. But you're right, man. Tony Noel, man, he's a special guy, man, and he really loves the game of basketball, man.
Oh yeah.
go
Absolutely.
to Ditmas Park to play. We would go there, play against Larry Robinson, that South Shore crew.
You mean Dow Robinson? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Down Robinson, okay, that South Shore crew, and he took me to Shiloh against Tony Washington and them back when Tony was woof. Tony was woof. He was like, you know, I mean, he was way better than his brother, you
Mm.
know, and all those guys. But he was, you know, Ditmas Park, Foster Park, all those places there were places I go with Tony Noel, Lower East Side, and I talked a lot of smack, and we'd get in fights and the whole thing, you know. He would hang in there, and you know, and when it came time to go to college, because I messed my knee up, when he was going to, I was still in high school. He was going to Bronx Community College. I went and tried out with him. I went through all the drills like I went there,
Mm.
and I made the team, but I wasn't there. And then after I went to 3 practices, and then it was time to start going back to regular high school because
Mm.
they're starting out. And they were calling my house and the whole thing. And then my mother dined me out and said, he's still in high school. He's still in high school. And it was like, you know, but then I messed my knee up, but we didn't know anything about ice. We had no one ever taped an ankle. And so my senior year was really a wash because I was injured and you needed time to rehab and you know, and I didn't know why the back of my leg hurt, and you know, and it was like a hamstring pull, and so you got to try and stretch it, and you're supposed to rest the hamstring,
Mm.
but no one tells you that, and no one tells you ice and heat, so you just go heat. Why? Because heat feels better.
Right.
Mm.
And you in New York, you take all the ice out your freezer, and see what you have in your mother's house.
Yeah. Right.
You just shit smacked up to you. Grab all ice cube. Well, straight put it on his leg. Okay, you ask my mom, can I have some ice? She'll give you 3 ice cubes in a cup. Here you are. Put that on you. 3 ice cubes in a cup. You know? So
Yeah.
all those baggies where you have the baggies and the zip tie and all that, there wasn't nobody buying those. Nobody buy that expensive crap. It was like, you know, so we just didn't do that. Everything was foil. So it was like, so it was just different. And so
Right.
you didn't really know how to take care of your body like that, you know.
Right.
But
And then
well,
and there weren't no trainers around.
Right.
That was non-existent yet.
Non-existent.
The worst thing that happened to the ghetto was those ankle weights. The ankle
Yeah.
weights
Right.
just beat me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
you run with them damn things thinking it makes you jump higher, and it does absolutely nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
pull your apart, you
Yeah.
know, and you know, and so it's like so it was all that foolishness, and so but when it came time, you know, so what happened is what changed the course. Tony got me into the Foster Park tournament, and I played there with the team, and we got to the championship against Tony Biles from South
Mm.
Shore and Felix from Erasmus Hall.
Right.
Yeah. Phyllis Tertullian. Mm-hmm.
Them Haitians, that Haitian and Tony murdered us. And, but I had 37 points and we lost by 12 or something like that.
mm.
So I got the sportsmanship trophy. And Mike Dunleavy gave it to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was my first big sportsmanship because I played with Ron Chisholm, Sam Worthen, and all those guys at Restoration, you know, because Sam, that was another thing. Sam was instrumental as well because he had a work ethic. He was the most unselfish. He was the most humble ball player I ever played with.
Mm.
And I remember in Brevoy, we played against the Lafayette crew, and he had Butch Pearson on him, you know, to body him up the whole thing, because, you know, you ain't shooting jump shots at Brevoy, you know, and he would say, you know, he would call the play, go four corners, everybody go to four corners, two there, two there. Okay, when I hit the top of the key, everybody baseline cut, everybody just cut, okay, and it rubs over and get the ball. And he would like, you know, and Brevoy small, so he said, damn near three-quarter court, start setting up four corners, so he would like run the offense. It was like, man, that boy was special to do work.
Yeah.
I watched
And he's still his personality, he's still like that. He's a very humble person.
humble, very little things,
Yeah.
you know. It was like and he coached, he would say like the Stogie, you know, on the free throw line. If he thought he said, Stogie, do me a favor, yeah, box out. Because boxing out Butch Pearson, okay. And once I played against Curtis Reddy, okay, trying to box him out, literally, he treated me like I was a ballerina. He would just shove me. I don't know how he was our age. Curtis Reddy had grown man slave strength.
mm.
Reddy would be like, boom. I'm going like, you know, literally I'm against the fence. And he was like, he was a man.
Yeah.
He was like, boom. You know, I'm going like, I mean, but so yeah, but so when I won at Foster Park, one of the guys there liked my game and he offered me, "Would you be interested in going to Long Island basketball camp?"
Mm.
I said, "Yeah." He said, "It's a 2-week camp. You know, you go away for 2 weeks, and it's in Long Island, the whole thing." They took my number, and information, the whole stuff, and that's how it is. So that summer, I went to Long Island basketball camp out there somewhere in Long Island. You know, took the train out, the whole thing. They sent you a Long Island train ticket, the whole thing. You packed your bag, you went out there, and I got to a gym with 16 courts in it. Never in my life had I seen so many basketball courts in one gym.
Mm.
Three on the side, three on this side, two big main ones, the whole thing. And I'm going like, they
I've
had it set,
arrived.
you know. Everybody would shoot, you know, you shoot 100 shots around the horn from different things. You shoot 10, he shoots 10, you know, from different spots, different stations. You keep track of it, you know, before practice starts, you know, took 100 jump shots.
Right. Right.
Okay, before you end, the same thing with free throws. Then you know, I had good form, you know, not like yours because you had some pretty ass form, you know, but it was like it was like and I realized that we never shot, I never shot that many times in a row. I
Right. Right.
100, 200 shots a day. You play the game in the morning and you play the game in the evening. And then your
Mm.
drills and all that stuff there, you know, and they had all different things. And it was like, and I was like, oh my God. They had film, they had stuff. And I was like, and then I saw, then my Pat came in to handle. They saw, you know, a 6'4" guy who could handle, you know, the whole thing. And I'm used to playing physical because, you know, Kurt Brennan was shoving me around. So now I'm a strong guy. And all of a sudden I'm like, huh. And I'm Sam Worthman doing these fools. And I'm going like, oh my God. So I'm like bad at the camp. They're like, you are so talented. I'm going, Chapman, I got to go like, let's keep that little low here. Stay out of Brooklyn. Okay, stay out of Brooklyn. And so in one of the games, a coach, a scout saw me from Chapman University in Orange, California. And it was, and I said, what kind of school? He said, I'm with a liberal arts college in California. And I never heard the term liberal arts before. And I was like, oh, I don't draw. And I'm not really into art like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but he's like, no, it's liberal arts college.
Yeah.
It's regular shit. It was like,
It required an explanation.
well, we didn't know shit like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so they're telling me he had a brochure and the whole thing, and they had a pool and it was in Orange, California. And it's like, so I'm like, these girls around the pool, are they like models like you see in the Macy's catalog, or do they go to the school? And he says, no, they're co-eds.
Mm.
I don't know what the fuck that means. I never heard that. And so I'm going like, but I didn't want to come off and sound like I'm dumb. So I'm going like, listen, it's like I'm not into all the name calling, but if these biddies go to the school, I want to go there. Okay.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Because they got a pool and they got girls in bathing suits, and I'm going like, stop fucking around. Okay.
Mm.
Didn't have to tell me twice, right?
I'm going like, and he's like co-eds, and he was like, so later on I said, what's a co-ed? What does co-ed mean? It means a female student. How the fuck did he just say that?
Yeah, right.
And I'm going like, a co-ed means female students? So at my high school, I have co-eds? Yeah, you go to co-ed high school. Does anybody else in my high school know about this shit? Because no one ever said that. Have you ever heard that when you were in high school?
No, not at all.
I did.
Afterwards, it's like, where you at the Tech though, right?
We they used it a lot at Tech because
You
it was only 2 years. It was only 2 years that they were co-ed when I got there. Because before it was just all boys.
Right.
So they did actually use that term.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
For us, we never heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't, so it was a whole different, so yeah, but it was so that's how that happened there. And that, helped change the course of things because, then I had to get, 800 on the SATs and the whole thing and, and get right. And, and of course, because that street shit caught up with me on Jobs' birthday. Jobs was born on June 13th. Every June 13th, I would get arrested. And rather than take responsibility for my actions, I would blame Jobs' fucked up birthday and say, your shit giving me bad luck. So it was a Friday the 13th, and I did get arrested. I was sneaking on the train. But it was like, because in Brownsville, as you brought it, if you paid, I paid one time getting on the train. It was like a quarter because the cop was standing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on the team, all them St. John's, recommended them, all me private fingers was like, did I just see you pay? What is wrong with you? So you hate money? You hate money? What you pay for? Like, hey, the cop was right there. Yeah, was he wearing black shoes? You think he's gonna fucking chase you for a quarter? And if he catch you, you deserve to go to jail, you stupid bastard. Yo, he's not gonna run for a fucking quarter. What's he gonna do? He'll take you to jail. And then what? Go in front of the judge and say, yeah, this nigga owes a quarter. What's his name? I don't know. You don't have no ID. This is the older kid telling me.
Mm-hmm.
On you? Okay, so what's your name? So he's like, what do you think he's gonna say? Well, they always tell me that, well, what's my real name? And I would go like, okay, Leroy Brown. And they would go, okay, Leroy. No one knew under stuff. They didn't really know he was my real name. And so it was like, meanwhile, Tupac had an album out, and I got to go like, that's that motherfucker's real name. That shit is Tupac, nigga, are you shitting me? It was like, but nonetheless, so that was the shit. So whether it was sneaking on the train or EJ Corvettes, because sweet Kurt Hudson,
Mm.
But at the time when I started in third grade, well, he was the first. He had a pull-up jump shot in third grade.
Mm.
At that time, I could not dribble and then come up off the dribble and jump and shoot. Kurt had a pull-up Jimmy in third grade, and I was
And
like,
destroying people. And he was
Yeah.
"Yeah, I
destroying
can do
people.
that." Okay, but that was my man, 100 grand, and um, we started with stealing Now and Laters, because Now and Laters had that pack that didn't make no noise. It didn't make that crunchy sound, so you had candy. And if you had big enough hands, you could have it in your hand. And I have, a pack of Now and Laters, and so it's like, what place you get, and so we became crimies like that. And then
Mm.
graduated to PJ Corvettes, and he would still go to Corvettes and come out, So the socks, they terrible, they sagging. Here, wear these. I got some tube socks. He's going like, hey, give me some tube socks. Hey, you bought tube socks for me? He was like, nigga, I went to his recorders. Yeah, and they 5% discount. So he taught me all that. And, we'd go to Corvettes, the sneaker thing, wait till it's crowded, try on the 10s. Man, these are a little too tight. You have these in 11s, you get the 11s, you tie these on, it was like, and then wait till she gets busy. And while you still have the new ones on, put your old ones in the box. The 11s, you have 10 and a half, because the 11s are a little too. And she's like, no, it's like, well, my mom's gonna come back, and then she's, it's like, just put the box right there, okay? I got other stuff there. I got time to fuck Joe. And so I put the new box right there, and we would turn and walk out with the new
Wow.
one's feet, And so
Wow.
we walked in with the same thing. We came here, had nothing in our hands. We're walking out with it, and if they did grab us, we'd go like, oh, I thought I took those off.
Uh-huh.
Must be great. So it was like, and once again, we 13, 14, we ain't had no ID anyway.
Right.
Those
That's right.
things like, so it was like, we'll hold you till your mom come to get you. It was like, nigga, I'm an orphan. Like,
Yeah.
moms. Like, my
All
grandmother,
on your case, man.
So yeah, so it was always that, but it was still, it was survival mechanism. And
Right.
so the thing was learning when you got to California to eventually get your way out of that, because but then you get to LA and then niggas had different problems with the gang banging, the drive-by shootings and the whole thing,
Right. Right.
crimes where money didn't change hands and commit felonies. But it was still that ball, that this camaraderie, this love for the game that taught you, because ironically, never did hard drugs outside of weed, and it was like, and but but never really, alcohol heavy, none of that, from the standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, we live near a hospital here in Redondo Beach.
Mm.
And then the ambulance goes by. But so yeah, but it's
Yeah,
uh
but you progressed through all of it, and have actually jumped into the fray of the entertainment industry, and you've done a lot of things in that space, and currently and over the past XYZ amount of years, you've been involved in doing a special type of show, which has been I guess described as an entertaining and educational romance or romanticized history lesson using Paul Robeson's life to examine the vital role slavery descendants played in American amazing but painful history. Why don't you speak to what brought you to start doing that show and how it's propelled your career into what it is now?
yeah, 25 years ago, I'd done soap operas and different shows, but I lost a lot of roles on ER and a lot of TV shows because a 6'5" actor is an anomaly in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're The Rock and you come in already famous.
Right.
When The Rock came in, he was making $5 million a bout with WWE,
Right. Right.
and he was easily the face of Red Worldwide Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And can you smell what The Rock is cooking? And he was doing them a favor by being in their movies, because he brought a huge fan base with him.
Mm-hmm.
For not that, it's very difficult because no one could, I've been up against Eddie Murphy in movies, Martin Lawrence, you know, and these guys are 5'7", 5'8". Wesley
Right.
Snipes is 5'8". Wesley Snipes weighs around a $170, a $165. You know, Chris Rock's a $130. That's my birth weight. It was like, you know, I mean,
Chris Rock is not 130, man. He's like about 110, and you ask me.
probably, you know, and it's like, but these are small guys, and film puts 10 pounds on you, so you look big anyway, you know. I have like if you on my you'll see me with the guy from Scandal who played the father, you know, and I'm he's 5'6", and he's, you know, maybe a $125,
Mhm.
standing next to him. So the writer now cannot ever write a fight scene or a scene to where he's intimidating me because it's just physically dangerous for him. So similar to Ving Rhames, unless you get, you know, and Ving is not that big. Ving is only 6 feet.
Right.
Ving Rhames, but he's wide and he's got that voice and he's ugly as stuff. So he's like, you know, and then he's a good dude, but it's a niche role. So, but I had the skills, and so when the Robeson show came along, I wrote it to suit my sensibilities. I played 16 characters in it, and it took off. And I started touring it around the world. And the very first time I went out and did it at a college, they paid me $5,000 for a first 90-minute show, and this was 1998.
Mm.
And I realized if I can do one show a week, that's 20 grand a month. And it can supplement while I chase Hollywood. I don't have to be desperate, you know, and leave the keys to my happiness in someone else's pocket because the compromises you make. I'm Jamaican by birth, and I'm one of those rebellious, defiant slaves that, you know, I don't surrender. And like my father had before me, we may or may not have had anger management problems, which is amazing because I'm a charming, delightful personality. I'm a funny dude. But, you know, the second push come to shove and they run out of love, I'm gonna let my hands go because
Hmm.
come from that. We come from that. Jamaica is a very aggressive, male-dominated society that, you know, it's like, you know, I have cousins, you know, and we're out in Jamaica or out somewhere, you know, that were older, uncles and stuff, and someone would ask them, you know, and hear their accent and say, like, you know, which island are you from?
Mhm.
And you kind of look around and go like, Bumbleclaw, Jamaica.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
And I'd go like, God damn, Trevor, this is actually what country you were from. Never said Jamaica. It's like, you know, she rules mine. Go back to the house. I'm like, God damn, nigga, lighten the fuck up. You know, it's like, but we are, you know, we're that people and we over celebrate and we overreact to some degree. And so, but so coming out of that, I'm not a good candidate for poverty and, you know, and for having white people dictate my future. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was a 5%er growing up in Brooklyn. And when I got to California, um, I converted to Orthodox Islam. And because there was a strong homosexual trend running through the black church here. Reverend James Cleveland had a choir with 41 male members had AIDS.
Mm.
Billy Preston was taking advantage of people and young kids and different things there, you know. And there were people in this industry that have tendencies, you know, and people offering to sell their souls. I come from a culture where there's some things that are not negotiable.
Right.
And
Right.
unlike my ancestors, you know, the defiant rebellious slave, you know, that slave that looked the slave master in the eye and said, you know, or I'd be a slave, I'd be dead in my grave and go home to my God to be free.
Yeah.
And it was the mentality that I always carried with me. And so as a result, you know, when they came out here, the first thing they said, Stogie, you're handsome, you have a beautiful smile, you're charming, you're funny, you can do stand-up comedy, you're the next Harry Belafonte. It's got to change that name. It's too street.
Mm.
It scares people. I got to go like, you've lost your fucking mind. I'm never changing my name. Why would you need to change that? It's like Will Smith, Cindy Poitier, Harry Belafonte, Bill Cosby, Eddie Murphy, Jamie Foxx. Look at all those names. Those are names people, white people, white people. That's
Mm.
saying to me. I said, that's culturally disrespectful. I'm never changing my name.
Not by someone else's choice. You might
Well,
change your name because you want to, but you're not changing your name because somebody else tells you to
oh, hell,
change it because of,
no.
you're gonna get
It's
this
my
and that.
identity. It's that Jamaican shit. You see the Jamaican track team running. They have names like Usain, Tishan, Johan. They got all the Jamaicans have, you know, those different tribal names, you know. We're
Mm.
African culture. We're an African culture, you know, and it's like, and we always lean towards Africa, like unlike the other Caribbean islands. We grew the dreadlocks, the true stick, the way of food, you know, to keep the accents on tape. You know what I mean? We go, and like I'm saying, like Brownsville, never ran, never will, you
I
know.
like
Will.
I like you said the chew stick, man. Tell America about the chew stick, man.
Shoe
Everybody
stick, right?
about
Yep.
that.
you see a 90-year-old dread, okay? I'm a true stick and I molt, you know what I
Yo,
mean?
I still buy them. If I find them, I still buy them. I'm serious.
And them smile and them teeth look like them teeth 2 years old. A 90-year-old with 20-year-old teeth. You know, it's like you know, and so we still do the ginger tea and the whole thing and the lemon and you know the cayenne and all that stuff, you know, because our roots sing, you know, and so it's like so I embrace that because you know it's who I am, you know, and so like I said, no matter where I roam, Brooklyn will always be my home because
Yeah.
my blood, you know.
Right.
Well, the show's taking me to 21 countries around the world, you know. I met my queen because I wrote a screenplay. I did a movie with Billy D. Williams and Powers Booth. And the writer of the movie, I was playing a dread. You know, I don't know if you saw my demo reel. You saw me with the dreadlocks
Mm.
demo reel, and the writer said, "But like how you're going on outside the Jamaican accent, the whole thing. You know, it's like we never know you was Jamaican until you start talking, and it was like it's amazing how you can do it. You know, and so then I told him, you know, and I said, that's a great script, you know, and he said, you know, I said, it's a beautiful script, you know, right? He said, I'm a writer too. He said, you're a writer. And I said, I would love to read some of your work. So I said, you shouldn't have said that because I got a script in the car. I'm gonna go get it. So I went and got it, and I gave it to him, but I didn't hear from him for around 9 months.
Mm.
10 months later, I get a phone call. Stogie, did you write the script by yourself? I said, yeah. He said, how'd you write it? And I said, well, I'm a Sid Field devotee. I'm trained by him, and I created the story, beginning, middle, end, and the characters who's going to tell it, and it's the next part and who tell the story and how thing. And it's like he said, you have the gift of story. He said, I'm not sure what that means. He says, you have the ability to tell the story fascinating. It's not, anyone can learn format, anyone can learn technique,
Mm.
imagination, the gift of story, that you cannot teach. He said, I got a producer. I want you to look at it. Take it to see this guy. So he sent me to see his producer. And when I got there at the office, I was sharp, went there with it. The receptionist had gone to the restroom. So the front desk was empty. And walking by was a hot, sexy, butter peach Puerto Rican in a tiger print pencil skirt with thick thighs and calves and just looking, oh my God. And she came, she said, can I help you? And hi, how are you? Can I help you? And I heard, will you marry me and spend the rest of my life with me? And I said, yeah, I'm Stogie. And this what's your name, the whole thing. You know, I said, um, how long have you been here from Puerto Rico? She said, how do you know I was Puerto Rican? I said, I could tell you a nigga Rican because it was like I said, well, I grew up in the Bronx partially,
Mhm.
and I'm from Sunset, and and it was like, and she said, what's your name? She said, it's Nishi. And so I gave her my information and tried to get at her. For 2 years, she didn't call me, which is a good thing because I was still married. But 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 later on, it changed my life, and I ended up hooking up with her. And
Mm.
25 and a half years later, we're still doing it. And so,
Nice, nice.
that's
Yeah,
a beautiful.
congratulations, man.
It's but yeah, so it's a journey, but sticking to my guns and holding down is what kept me from, because we got cats from Brooklyn that have come out here and have had some success. But the more you get, you tend to be like them, and you worry about losing it. And they end up selling their soul. You know,
Mm.
I know a lot of cats, that were down by law. Will Smith and a lot of cats that I played celebrity basketball games with Will Smith and the whole thing. Really, really cool guy in the late '80s and early '90s and the whole thing. I was up for Fresh Prince. When they were looking for the butler. I initially went in for one of that role. They were gonna make him Jamaican, but
Mm.
I was way too young. They didn't want me running around the house with Will, and I don't look like nobody's butler. But nonetheless,
That's 6'5".
exactly right. And Dr. Phil would have been like, nigga, where my wife? It's
No, you would have been upcasing Will and Carlton, you
you
know,
know, yeah, but
because
I,
they can't compete with Brooklyn. So
it was like, but I'd have got at that little girl, his sister, because I,
uh,
yeah, but it's
no comment, man.
but yeah, but it was but you can't sell your soul out here. So it's
Yeah,
you have to decide, and choose fulfillment over fame. And that's one of
mm.
the things that I did because, you have to this journey, it's like when I won the NAACP award, a young actor who was hot at the time came up to me to tell me how fascinating it was and how amazing it was a show and that I was keeping this history alive and and that he felt an obligation to me because he had done Thurgood Marshall and Jackie Robinson. He was getting ready to do James Brown, and this kid was Chadwick Boseman, and he was just so polite and so fresh and so pure.
Mm.
I was like, wow, this kid is so different. He is so unspoiled.
Mhm.
And I thought when he walked away, God clearly likes him better than me because this kid here is like, really, really. And so he later on had a phenomenal career. Of course, went on to do Black Panther and become, 25, $30 million a picture and the whole thing. And
Yeah.
then, before he could have kids with his beautiful queen, he wakes up dead at 42
Yeah,
years old.
yeah,
And so the thing is that, at that time, people say, I wish I would have his career.
Mm.
One is with good fortune, you also got to take his bad fortune. And that you would have had his career if he'd been dead at 42
right.
Right.
with no kids. And so you don't curse your luck and you realize you got to run your own race.
Mm.
And this is what that God had planned for you. And you just got to deal with that. And so that's one of the things that, and how I look at life in the world and change my worldview because, my boy Sweet, he's struggling with, um, a massive stroke. And he's home now, but the whole last year of his life, it was like it was, and Sweet was one of the guys that, I played with in third grade and, was with Sports Unlimited with him and was with John Lawrence with him and Stan Worthing, And when he came out here and I ran into him at the forum because he was going to be playing for University of Pacific and the coach got fired. Bob Boyd got fired at USC and he
Mm.
got the job and brought him to USC.
Right.
Jerry Buss owned the Lakers and was a big alumni, and the USC band played for it, and all USC athletes got free tickets to come to, the basketball game. And so I run into him at a Laker game, and we about lost our damn mind.
Oh yeah.
it was like third grade. It was like, no, no, because there was no Facebook at the time. And we didn't know. I'm like, what you doing in LA? He's like, nigga, I'm going to SC. I thought he said we're going to Pacific. He's like, the coach got fired. He's coming here. It's like, ah. And so and oh my God. Then Artie Green and Sam Worthington again came out to play out here. And we all hanging out in a van with Purvis Miller, Big Perv, and and it was like, and he was one of the stars at USC, and we were all hanging out, and everybody's, and Artie and Sam and the whole thing, and Sam's chugging the 40 and drinking. I'm like, Sam, don't drink so much, man. You got a game tomorrow night. You're gonna get tired. He said, I ain't gonna get tired. But why not? He said, because I set the pace. He run without me. Going like, nigga, that's gangster. Nigga, that's so gangster. It's like,
That's Brooklyn for you.
He was leading them with scoring and assists.
Yeah, yeah.
With Artie Green on team, leading them in scoring and assists. You know, 16 and 9, 16 and 10, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and so
total
it was
package.
like, but yeah, and so but Ron Chisholm was out here at San Jose State. Him and Bob Bishop and Stretch were at San Jose State. In the junior college thing, me and Ron were all down here together, playing the junior college championship. And it was like, the Pepperdine coach wanted Ron to come there, and he bought me dinner, trying to get me to. You want to talk to your boy about? You want to talk to your boy Ron when I come to my school, right? So Ron, you should go to Pepperdine. It's like, why? Because he bought you dinner. It was like, yeah. It's like, give everybody sneakers. It was like, get the sneakers too, nigga. You'll be closer to me. But he went to San Jacinto with Stretch and got Bob down there. And of course, Stretch went crazy, and they all got messed.
But a lot of people don't understand still yet. There was so many, like just Brooklyn, just so many Brooklyn basketball players playing all over California.
All over.
It was crazy. I'm like maybe like 30 guys.
You had Kurt Sumter, you had Phil Foreman, you had Anthony Bogan. He was at Palm Springs, and you had Cosell Brown. Cosell was murdering them out there. I watched him give the UCLA starting point guard 30 and 11. Nasty. He destroyed Ralph Jackson.
Yeah. I mean, because all of the JUCOs in California were like saturated with, Brooklyn players. Jonah and, guys from that played at, and it's that Forster Park connection with Rodney Parker.
That's right. Rodney Parker.
Yeah, Rodney came out there. He was real good to me. I love Rodney. It was like, because Rodney knew a lot of, because he had Harvey Garfunkel, all those guys, and he knew a lot of good guys, but he was always good to me. And, and he would he's like, Stogie, what size you wear? 11. It's like, you come tomorrow and say, yeah, okay. I get some, white or black. And it's like, even white. Okay. And he'd bring the sneakers. It was like, I love that dude, man.
And the sneakers were there too, right?
Always. The Pro-Am down here.
Yeah, definitely, man.
There's the LeGree boys down here, It was like then New York Tech came out with Bones and Calvin Hicks, okay? Who Calvin Hicks would look at me and give me, he said, if I walked on the court with Calvin Hicks, he'd get 27, Stogie, 27. I wouldn't even guard him, because his shot was just like, I would say, I'm not guarding Calvin. I would not even, but he, fortunately, I never really had to, because everybody else knew too. It was ridiculous. But, it was like, but a lot of those guys that are not here that went so young, Cal Hicks, James Hayes, Renee, it's like, so yeah, but it was, but no, but there were a lot of California guys came through.
Yeah, they were all over the place, man, Yep. And I know we got a little sidetracked a bit, man, off of, the show, but let everybody know what you've been doing since then and how successful the show has been. I know that you're, doing some, I guess, speaking engagements now as well.
Yeah, I wrote a novel called The God Stop Smiling, which is a love letter to Brooklyn and basketball about a couple of, and it's fiction, but the names are real. So when you have a novel with, around 85, 90 names in it, I'm not going to be creating names out of my head. So I just use the names of everybody that I knew anyway, and put them, but it's not their story. And so, but yeah, so I had a couple of guys, an Italian kid from Queens and a kid from Brownsville. And they were both high school All-Americans. And they were both, going to go to big school. The Italian kid was going to go to Notre Dame and play. The brother from Brooklyn was going to go to UCLA. But his mother came down with breast cancer, so he had to stay home because she was in chemo. And the Italian kid's father had heart surgery and had heart failure. So he had to stay home because these are the two people that they both played for, and he wanted to have see them play.
Mm.
So they both ended up changing and decided they were going to go to St. John's so they would be near their parents and their parents could see them play because they didn't know how long they had to live. So as a result, St. John's got two big-time All-Americans, and 2 years and 2 years later, they got to the Final Four. And the week after they got to the Final Four, they won the next game, and then their parents died a week apart. So in the Final Four, all the music, all the media made a big deal about it. They were calling the Ebony and Ivory backcourt, with the white kid, and because it takes place, in the late '80s, '90s, and so they were rooting for them. The country was rooting for them, and they, of course, win the championship, and all their dreams come true. The title comes from the God Stop Smiling is when you see a player like LeBron or Kobe or Magic or Shaq or Tiger Woods, or Venus and Serena, and you say, wow, the gods have smiled on them and gave them the gift of game.
Mm.
So, they went first and fourth in the NFL NBA draft, and they had careers, and but in the middle of their careers, their fifth year, they both get traded to LA. And then the planets lined up right for them and they win the championship. And so they had all this money, they had all this wealth, and they had all this fame,
Mm.
and everything was fine. The gods had smiled on them. But they had bad habits. They were casual cocaine users, as most of us, not us, of course, but other people were in the 80s, and and they were casual drug users, and they were, out in LA where, the Beverly Hills diet was champagne and cocaine, and so they were playing, and then for 60 seconds one morning, the gods stopped smiling, and it changed their lives forever. And so now they would have to overcome this thing because the hypocrisy of wealth,
Mm.
so people say, these young kids, they don't know how to handle money, they don't have any character. Well, it's not their fault because you don't get character, you develop character, and character takes time to develop. But if you give a kid $10 million by his 21st birthday, he got money and wealth before he had a chance to develop character. And
Right.
everybody who could help him out. But why won't their parents help him out? Their parents never had $20 million at 20 years old. Their parents are brand new to this.
Right.
They don't know. And everybody else that could influence them and help them also gets, here's $1 million, go buy a house, go buy this, go buy that. And it's very hard to yell at the person who's saying, it's like, baby, you're taking care of yourself. Please don't do anything wrong. I love you. I love you. And they're going to say all the right things. They're not going to say, yeah, I know I'm doing fine. I work out, I practice, I'm playing well, but I also do coke 3, 4 times a week. They're not
Mm.
going to say that, or I sleep with hookers, or I got, I got call girls by the house, the whole thing. And so one morning, by accident, after they win the championship, my man is jogging up the hill. He says, I'm going to work out before I go on vacation. So I'm not, because I'm getting older. I'm in my 6th year now of the show, and I'm a champion. So they're coming for me next year. So one morning he says, I'm going to get up and I'm going to just run the hill, around the neighborhood. So he gets up at 5 in the morning before the sun comes up, too much. And then, and he's finishing up his run, and he's coming up the hill, the last thing, and he's puffing, puffing. Then a beautiful blonde white girl runs out with a blonde ponytail and a sexy body, runs out and jumps in her convertible Porsche in Bel Air. Then she goes to pull off. But as you know, she's driving a stick. And if you're on a hill with a stick, you got to let the clutch out real slow or the car will shut off on you. She does that around 3 or 4 times and the car shuts off. So he hears and he sees her and she goes like, baby, this hill giving you trouble too. And she goes, oh my God. He's like, so he tells her what to do. She tries and then she said, listen, could you do me a favor? Could you just pull it off the hill for me until it gets to flat ground? He says, sure, honey, I'll do it for you. So she puts it in park. He runs around. He gets in the passenger seat. He adjusts the seats. He adjusts the mirror. He puts his hand on the clutch and he shows her and he eases off the thing and he pulls it off and he shows and he drives a half a block up to where it's flatlands. And then, of course, everybody sees him in the red Porsche. The old folks that are walking by, doctors and lawyers and the rich people that live in the neighborhood. Hey, Kenyatta, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah, yeah, congratulations. Then she realizes, oh my God, you're the ball player. And the people are blowing their horn. How you doing? So a couple people, take a couple pictures. He signs a couple autographs. So the girl gets up. Oh my God, I didn't even recognize you. But I'm sweaty. So she gives him a hug, kisses him on the cheek, jumps in the car, and drives off. And that was it. And he jogs home. Later that night, that girl was beaten to death and raped and murdered up in the hills, the Hollywood Hills.
Mm.
Nobody knows who did it. They found her dead. So of course they do some scanning. They take fingerprints all over the car. They do some scanning. They ask, hey, anybody know? Then some people say, oh my God, she's a friend of Kenyatta. The people saw her in the news. So they go ask Ken. He's no suspect, but they got to go, your friend is dead. She got murdered.
Mm.
Which friend? They tell her name. I never heard that name before. He goes, that's strange. Around 10 people here said you were driving a car, that you know her. Never heard her name before. Maybe you know by the picture. Looks at the picture.
So this is a screenplay you were writing?
This is part of the novel and the
Okay.
screen. Okay. And so he says, I don't recognize her there either. Yeah, are you sure? Look at it again. Dude, I'm a star. I just won a championship. I would know if I know her. So you hadn't seen her in a couple of days, maybe taken her for a ride, drove her car. Oh no, I don't remember. You don't remember? Plus, her picture, she's all dialed up. She had a ponytail. When he saw her, it was like, he was with her for like 40 seconds. So they take the fingerprints off the picture. The fingerprints off the picture match the steering wheel, the clutch, the door, the dashboard, and the mirror. So now they got fingerprints. They got 10 to 15 eyewitnesses that say they saw him. Then they say he hugged them and they kissed them. They got their sworn statements. They arrest him and charge him with murder. And so the audience knows that he didn't do it. But like life, shit happens, but how you react to it makes things worse. And
Right.
that's what the story is, that the God stopped smiling. So their friendship, which was their salvation at one point, becomes their curse, because when you get high and you do stuff, you're around people that you don't know what else they do. And a lot of stuff starts unraveling. And all of a sudden, it was like, like when you and I were growing up, you and I know 3 or 4 big time drug dealers that we may have shot jump shots with the whole thing. And they're in our phones. The feds would call them KA, known associates.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
And if they dumped your phone, it's like, nigga, you texting. Yeah, I know. You said, yo, you gonna come tonight? You come to the game tomorrow? Nigga, that's cold. That's ball. It was like, yo, bring them things. You know what I mean? It was like, yo, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing you. It was like,
Yeah.
yo, mom, get at me, dog. It was
Yeah,
like,
for real, man.
so it was a lot of stuff like that. So that's what the story's about. It's about love and friendship and this bond and this brotherhood. And sometimes you have some toxic friendships that you have to let go.
Mm. Yeah.
Friends, everybody can't go. Some people only got to go persuade you. There were cats
Yeah.
that was thick as thieves, but that were in my wedding. We still people, but I don't fuck with them no more
Mm.
because I realize they'll hold you down.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't mean to, but it's just the nature of man, you know. And so, the whole thing, any kind of envy breeds, any kind of success breeds envy. It's like it's the nature of man. So you
Yeah.
have to find ways to, you know what I mean? So to this day, Still some of my closest friends were my day one people, you know. Um, Tony Noel, Kurt Hudson, yourself, Rick Jarvis, Derek Jones, Fluff, you know, it's like, you know, and everybody's had their struggles, you know. As you know, our boy Fluff has had some major league struggles, you know. You're phenomenal because you have endured and persevered. It was like, boy, you got fight in you. You a straight up warrior, you know, and it's
Gotta
like,
fight, man. Gotta fight.
Yep.
You
but
know.
that's that thing, and that's the thing, you know, where, and I used to tell Fluff, like I tell him today, don't you quit on me. You know, I don't care. You know, you're down 12, 14, and first 6 minutes to go. Now you're down 14, just gave up a layup, man. It was like, nigga, don't you quit on me. Don't you quit on me. Don't look at the
Yeah,
score. Don't
that's
look at the
right.
score.
Now you're
Don't
right.
look-
No, you're right. You're 100%
quit
right.
on me.
And that's the story that we all should be sharing with each other, because no one knows people's personal struggles, but you can kind of sense it sometimes, man. You gotta say, yo, man, don't give up, man. You'll fight, man. Yo, you need somebody to talk to. Like, being available, man, for people is like the probably the second most important thing in living, man. Is like not to be shelling yourself, because you can help others,
Mm.
and that's what our camaraderie does, man. If we help each other, I mean, even if we don't even talk, all I got to do is say, damn, what would Stogie do? Or damn, if Stogie tell me to shut the hell up and get it done. Les would tell me, yo, man, just do it. But that's a norm for me, whereas a lot of people don't have that available to them. Stogie, you know what I'm saying? you know
Yeah, it's a fight. It's a constant push because the thing is, this life is a gift. And the guys that died young that are not here have been gone for so long. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
and the guys that you know that looked healthy the last time you saw them, you got to go like, oh my God. And some of the
yeah,
guys queer, you know, it's like, I saw
Mm.
the speech you gave at Rudy's funeral, which was phenomenal because I had no idea you were such a public speaker. But oh my God, you came off the top of your head, and it was just like, and so much energy in the whole thing. You know, it was like, it was beautiful. You
yeah. You
know,
gotta let your passion go. When your heart's hurting, man, your passion comes out. Just whether or not people are listening when it's coming out. And that's, to me, that's the focal point of my relationship with all of y'all, man, is to try to make sure that y'all know that a brother gives a damn, man. And I value the experiences, man, and that's
Mm.
what we all do for each other all the time. Les and I talk about this all the time. It's like it's almost to the point of like it's getting boring. But this is what we speak
well,
on. This is
it's a beautiful brotherhood. The thing is this: you think it's getting boring until this, right? I get to London, England, to perform. I got 6 shows in London, Birmingham, England, and London. University of London, Birmingham, England. I get there. Okay. I use my card. I fly first class from LA. I use the card at LAX airport. We get drinks, the whole thing, buy some stuff to go on the plane, the whole thing, because you can't carry nothing on internationally, the whole thing. So, right. 12 hours later, I tried using the card in London. Unusual activity. I guess I was supposed to go in the bank to tell them I'm traveling. I've never done that before, but
Mm.
they know I travel to the Caribbean. But England is full of people and that do scamming. And it was a 12-hour window. Because
Mhm.
Mm.
when I get to the Caribbean, I don't have to spend no more money because I get per diems and the whole thing. London wasn't paying me per diems. When I get off the plane in the Caribbean, they gave me an envelope with $700 and me $700 cash. I use their money. I don't have to spend nothing. I take the check.
Mm.
So I get there, they block my card. They
Mm.
block my card. I had like $200 on me. So I'm in a jam in England, and as you know, so I call the bank.
Mm.
Yo, check. It's me. Check my shit. It was like, yeah, here's my mother's maiden name. Here's my thing. It's like, okay, Mr. Voice on the phone. If you stole Stogie's identity, you would know all this shit. The only way we're going to unblock this card and give you access to his money is if you bring your ass in this bank. Bitch, I'm in London. Congratulations. You can still be in London. You will not have access to this money until you walk into this bank. Enjoy the
Wow.
rest of the day.
Wow.
Shut you down.
So what do you think I do? Well, what are we going to do now? Okay, because you have to do. I'm like, I got a man out here I should shoot jump shots with in Brooklyn. When the last time you talked to him? It's been around 17 years. Oh, Stogie, you have his number? No, but I'm gonna call him on Facebook. You don't have his number? Well, it's like ring, ring, ring. Bob Bishop, Stogie, my man, Winthrop High, Winthrop Junior High, Wingate Park, Lafayette. Why you take my spot, Bob? It's like, Stogie, what you doing, baby? Bob, I told Bob what happened. Stogie, I got you. What you need? Well, I'm going to Birmingham and I'm coming back here. It was like, but I got to buy the plane tickets. You got to buy them online. And I got cash. It was like, I'm going to buy them for you, Stogie. That's not a problem. He buys the tickets for me online. So they pay me in England. I get the money. I tell them, wire the money to me. They like, okay. So I take their check that they give me in England, London. Okay, I need it to be wired. They said, so I can have cash. It was like, so I called the American bank. Okay, I need it to be wired now so I can have cash because I'm here and I'm stuck. Okay, I'm going to say 2 words to you, Mr. Kenyatta. Okay, go ahead. The Patriot Act. The Patriot Act. I'm like, what's the Patriot Act? The Patriot Act says you cannot wire money from abroad and turn it into cash so that you can finance terrorism from some rabbit hole in another country and finance it to someone in America to blow up a fucking bus. So you can send Eric Short 300 grand and say, Eric, there's a package, leave it at Utica Avenue and come home. And then take your 300 grand and go live in Grand Cayman Island and do something nice for you and your wife. But you're saying I can't get this money. No.
Yeah.
Only way you can get it is that you have an American, someone in the United Kingdom bank account. There you can wire it to.
Wow.
4 cousins there in England that I could have had him do it to.
But look how Bishop stepped up as well, though.
And I had Bob Bishop. Who do you think I had them wired to?
Yeah. And that's what we do for each other.
I had
That's why.
Bob. I had to wire to Bob.
But that would happen. That would have happened to you domestically because when you did your show, like we're hosting you because you come to my place or you come up to Trenton, where Les is at, and we treat you good, man. So
Les is the man. Les had him open a clothes restaurant, okay, and had him make his curry goat and oxtail, okay, and they opened for us, okay. It was like Les saw I had on a watch that wasn't. He said, "What, Stogie? That watch you're wearing is garbage. Throw it in the garbage here. Wear wrists, okay?" And the watch. It was like, it touched my heart. Okay, then he must have brought like 24 people to the show. It was
that was a really good show, man. Really good show, bro. I was so proud of you, man. So proud of you.
But it touches my heart. And so my wife, Bob, I talked to Bob for like, every time I picked up the phone in England, it was to talk to Bob, because there was no one else there. Because I tried to talk to my relatives, like, hi, how you doing? We went out to dinner, the whole thing, it's like, in England, it was like, the food's terrible, and it was like, you're not eating Jamaican food in England, you're not eating.
Yeah.
Nothing is seasoned. Okay, fish and chips, okay, how they're still eating that shit is just beyond me. It's fish sticks and French fries. Except the French fries are thick as fuck, and it may as well be potatoes, because it's not McDonald's fries. It's not, it's barely salty. Like, I'm like, really,
you haven't changed, man. I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you.
It was like, so Bob came to the airport to see us off. We hung out at the airport. Bob came to O'Hare Airport in England.
Wow.
You can see, it was like, and Mishi was like, you haven't seen him in like 20 years, and he's going like, this is like, it was like, I shot jump shots with this nigga at 15.
Yeah.
Okay, it was like, and it's like we never separated.
Yeah, and it's like, once again, man, it's it's a conversation that we have on this show all the time. Is the camaraderie that is established, and it's not there's no reckoning of looking back and reminiscing and saying, why am I so close to this guy when I never hung out with him? But when you step on the court with somebody and bond playing ball, either a pickup or team or whatever, it stays with you. It
Yeah,
stays,
that's
And I mean, and there's guys that Les mentions to me like from third grade that we played on a team with, and it's like, Les might still talk to the guy. Man, we're talking like 1963, 64, and Les still talks to the guy. And we balled with St. Francis Assisi. It's such a camaraderie environment. Yeah, and it's unbelievable. And everybody that comes on this show has the same kind of opinion and experience, but maybe in another area of Brooklyn. And
right.
and it's phenomenal to me, that happens. And then
Without a doubt. Yeah. Because meanwhile, my wife knows 4 people she went to high school with, that she's in touch with. 4.
right, yeah,
And 2 of them she's regular, 2 she never sees unless there's a reunion.
yeah,
That's just the same way. It's like, it's rare. It is very rare. And I have friends in that way too, that, and so it is indeed a very, very rare and unique thing because it's just brotherhood, whether it's bedshed pool, taking a deep water test, the whole thing. I remember my first time to a Met game, where my next door neighbor, Dennis Battle, his father got tickets for his friend, to bring his best friend to it. And I went to it. It was Cat Day. I'm going like, and it was like, my dad got you tickets. You want to go to a Met game? I'm going, what do you mean if I want to go to a Met game? Yeah, I can go to a Met. You can go to a Met game? And it was like, it was like, and they went to ask my mother, yeah, I'm gonna take your son to a Met game. He bought us hot dogs and like,
yeah.
because you don't take this stuff for granted. It was like, it was one of the best childhoods ever, and I swear to God, it was like I look back with it with such fondness and
yeah,
such,
yeah.
but
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 what if you, Stogie, excuse me for cutting you up, but what if you had like a negative experience? A lot of times people suppress those. And so they go and hide them. But these are experiences that, like, just, one little trigger, one little dog whistle, and it'll bring back such joyous memories for us. Yeah, I remember when I scored 40. I remember when I did this, did that. And like I said, man, it's like a common theme between all of us, man. And I don't know if anybody can bring anything up that can compare to it, because it's such a common experience.
right. Well, you have negative experiences, and there were a lot of cats that died, and I remember Asthma died, and which is crazy because I can't remember his name because his nickname was Asthma because he had asthma, and that's what they.
Sorry for laughing.
But it was crazy. But asthma died of asthma, and um, and that was his name. But I think it might have been Ricky or something regular. But it was like and Back Rob and Puerto Rican Joe and whatever it was, and Haitian this and and it was like so you had these things, and and I got arrested several times, and so you had some negative experiences, but you understood. I
Right.
remember the last time I got arrested in New York, we went to see Sparkle, and I remember when we came out, Sarah from the Cloud, and Zeke, who played with us with Restoration. Remember Zeke? Little
Zeke,
black,
Tomahawk Zeke.
huh?
Tomahawk Zeke, right?
Yeah, he's a Tomahawk. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, yeah. Because he was there. One of his boys, Tony McLeod, was we got caught up in something coming out the rugby theater after watching Sparkle, and when in a robbery, that we may or may not have been guilty of, and and I remember when the police they jumped out, pulled their guns, and I grabbed Fluff so that he wouldn't run, because I just saw a movie where they got shot in the back for running, and so I grabbed him, and so and we went to jail that night, and we were in Brooklyn House of Detention, and we made the mistake of getting arrested on a Friday night, which means you got to spend Saturday and Sunday because you're not going to get a
right?
ring
Till
Monday.
Monday. That's right.
and,
So
and
do
so
all your dirt on Thursday, they tell
or
you.
Sunday night.
Yeah, yeah, But but those experiences are like massively crazy, man. And but let me
but
ask you though, just to be going forward, what's next for Stogie Kenyatta, man?
Well, they're considering bringing me back to Paradise Island to perform at the Shakespeare in Paradise Theater Festival. It will be my third trip there in Paradise Island, Bahamas. That will be in mid-October. My passion piece is a feature film, Promise of Paradise, which I will be directing, and it's a 7-character dark comedy, and which I wrote, and beautiful story, and looking forward to doing that, and continue to promote the novel, and hopefully sell the novel as a limited series to one of the streamers, Amazon or Prime Ticket, Netflix, one of those, and
Okay.
so yeah, so keep me going, and just living life, I love it here in Redondo Beach, California, and I love my wife, and I love being married, and it's and uh, and unlike you guys, the rare first wives club. Look at you, brothers. You guys are amazing. The first wives
He had to
club.
go there, Les. He had to go there.
Yeah.
The first wives club. It's like but you guys had great examples because you had great pops and different things, and and struggle through it, and and it's great. So it's congratulations on your daughter. She having a baby yet?
Nah, man, don't push that, man.
You want to have a grandkid?
Oh
Stop
yeah,
playing.
when it happens, man, I'm putting pressure on her, and that's
But
funny because I think Lester has the same kind of mindset with his daughter Alyssa. Like we don't push, man. I don't push. I know
Mhm.
Lester don't push, man. We just let them do their thing, man. It'll happen, I mean that
yeah,
because then it becomes an annoyance. It's like somebody in your ear,
I know, I know.
and for
And,
that topic, I don't think me as a father or potential grandfather, I don't think it's a good look to be badgering my daughter saying when you're going to do your thing. I that's
right,
not
right,
my
right, right.
business. So
I feel you. I
um
feel you.
yeah, but I
Yeah, I'm
could do that. I could do that, but I'm not going to.
uh, and it's wonderful. My son's in law school. He's doing very well, but
So you got grandkids then?
absolutely none.
So when
Absolutely
you gonna
none.
have grandkids? They up here asking us like, "What's your story, bro?"
Uh, Listen, I'm lucky. It's yeah, no, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about having a halfway decent relationship with my Ivy League, act like they're white kids, because they don't identify with what we've been through in the struggle. It's a whole different animal, and
Yes.
it's you know, and so it's crazy, but it's but hey, man, it's a journey. You control what you can control, and do your best. Don't
Yeah,
worry
that's
about it.
it.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
definitely. Hey Les, you got something for Stokeman?
No, man, I just want to know when he coming back on the East Coast. That's all.
Yeah, man. I'm
Yeah,
hoping.
what is the story with that, man? When you gonna, rampage the East Coast for us, man?
Yeah, it's been a while now, but it's been almost a year. It's been a year. It's been a year and a half almost. And so
And not, because of a funeral.
yeah, really.
Right, right.
It's hopefully within the next 6 months or so, I should be back. And I like to do something. And hopefully work will bring me back there. And so we're hoping for that. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and have this knee replacement surgery at some point because it's getting old. I've been putting it off for years, and this left knee is a pain in the butt, and it's like but since when I walked in 4 years ago to do it, he said you're going to be a terrible candidate because what's it stop you from doing? You look healthy, you're big, you're strong, you're still working out. He said it stopped me from running, jumping, and playing ball. He said, "Do you want to do those things?" I said, "Hell no." He said, "Well, then you should wait because you said you're going to hate me for putting you in pain and blame me because right now you're walking regular." And I said, "Yeah." And I do walk regular until you have those moments where, you sit for a long time or in a certain position without stretching it out, it gets painful.
Yeah. When
So,
you plan on having a surgery soon?
no, but it's going to be sometime during the winter, that's for sure. I'm not going to do it in the summertime.
Uh-huh.
You know, so
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's
So
crazy, man.
good
Well, I
journey,
tell
man.
you,
But you
man,
guys,
it's like it's always a crapshoot, man, with your health, man. So, it's something that
you
you
know,
want to avoid, but something that's unavoidable, you know, because it happens, man. And this breaks down, the check engine light comes on, and you got to have this surgery, and
Yeah.
but you're
so
still
you
on
just
this
trying to
side
stay
of the
away from
ground. What you say again?
Hmm.
you just got the diabetes and the high blood pressure, the heart disease. You know, you just got to try and stay away from those things. You
Yeah,
know,
definitely. Well,
but
listen, man, we're at the end of the show. I really, really appreciate your participation and you coming in and talking with us, man. It's something we probably should have done a while back, but we don't push you to
Yeah.
come
but
in and
uh, I love the Tony Noel one where y'all had surprise guests and everything. You know, it was like it's but yeah, but Tony and I have stayed tight. We're still, he
Hmm.
and my wedding. He helped my faith as well because he's one of the most disciplined cats I've ever met.
All
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Really,
definitely.
top dude. And
Yeah.
it's like, have you done Javas yet?
Next week, as a matter of fact.
Uh, what about Satch? Do Satch soon. Do that
No,
crazy
man.
guy.
No, it's time to end the show. You mentioned Satch's name. It's time to end the show, man. But we did do Satch actually, right, Lester? We
Yes.
did, right? Yeah, we
Yes.
did do
All
Satch,
right.
man.
Oh, I gotta
You
see
know,
Satch's own. Okay.
we did do Satch,
When
man.
you
But
did it, did you
Good
go to camp?
search.
Did you
yeah,
go to camp for the Nets or the Knicks when you did it? Was you All American Syracuse? Oh,
Hey man, I'll tell you, Satch it was a good one, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was fun. Satch entertaining as hell. He's
Yeah.
entertaining as
yeah,
hell, and he knows
yeah.
everybody. He's a gym rat.
He was
He,
good,
And,
man.
and plus, like, believe it or not, Les Satch has like this. He's been a spectator, participant, a referee, so he brings a lot of different perspectives, man. And he has a
Right.
fourth
Right.
perspective that I don't know where he got it from, but
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
some that's from a third world, perspective.
yeah. He's got a.
When he sees this, he's gonna call me, Les. I know.
I know. I know. You know he is.
Maybe he
Yeah.
won't see the end of the show and he won't know what I said. You know. But yeah, Stogie, really, man. I really want to thank you, man, for coming on, man. I always like sitting down and having conversations with you. After the debacle during the pandemic with the documentary, you set some things in straight in my head that I never really thank you for that, man. It seemed like we were arguing, but
no, no, no.
your
I fully
point. No, but hey,
understand.
let me finish if you don't mind. But it was a point well taken. You were right. No, you were right. And when we hung up, I took it to heart, man, and I appreciate it, man, because it helped me get through, a time that
Right.
was kind of rough, man. But I appreciate you, man, because that's what you bring to the table, man. And I want to thank you for that, man. And
Hmm.
also
All
want to
right.
thank you for coming on the show and blessing us with, your travels and your journey.
I appreciate you, fam. It's always you two. It's like it's a beautiful brotherhood. And it's mature. You guys have grown, and it symbolizes this Brooklyn bond. With grace and dignity.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
always like that. It's Les. I always thought Les was going to be a pastor because he's just so dignified. And
Man,
my wife always says like he
you better
seems more.
you hold on. Let's say if you say that if you look at his sheet.
It's, but my wife always says he's more mature than me because it was like, it was like he's almost like your dad. And I'm going like, I said, the nigga's the same age as me.
Well, come to think of it, man, pastors would have a sheet like that, so you might not be wrong.
It's like
You can't be a
That's
pastor
funny.
these days without having a sheet.
That's funny.
Yeah, but yeah, man, it's been really great to have you. Les, you got any final thoughts, man, before we hang up?
No, man. I'm
All
good.
right.
I'm good, man. Good to see
Yeah,
my brother.
yeah,
all right, my
definitely, man. So once again, everybody, we've gotten
yeah.
to the end of another, ENL Sports Talk Show with our special guest, Stogie Kenyatta. And we just want to tell everybody that thanks for watching. and we'll definitely see you guys on the next one. Everybody take care.